Good afternoon. I call to order the Lynchburg Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, December 13th, 2017. Thank you all for coming. The first order of business is the approval of the November 8th, 2017 minutes. Are there any additions or corrections? Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, thank you. Oh, thank you. One sustained. The next order of business is the following public hearing item. Petition of Sandpiper Hospitality VLLC to rezone approximately 2 acres located at 310 and 312 Border Street from B3C Community Business District conditional to B3 Community Business District to allow the construction of a hotel and associated parking. Rachel, you get the pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of Planning Commission. As you stated, Sandpiper Hospitality is petitioning to rezone these 2 properties from B3C Community Business District conditional to B3 Community Business District to allow the construction of a hotel. The subject property is approximately 2 acres and is recommended for employment 2 uses on the city's future land use map. Employment 2 uses include light and heavy manufacturing, research and development, office uses. Hotel uses are also appropriate if sized appropriately in these areas. The B3C Community Business District is intended to provide for office, retail, and service uses, including hotels. However, the proffered concept plan from a previous rezoning currently precludes the construction of a hotel. Therefore, the rezoning petition before you today is not to change zoning districts, but to remove that proffered concept plan from the last rezoning. The Planning Division does recommend approval of this petition, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have after the public hearing.
Great. Thank you. Who is here to speak on behalf of this petition? If you could come up, state your names and sign in, and Robin will be running.
I don't have my iPad, but I'll keep track
Okay.
of my phone and let you know.
If you see Robin frantically waiting,
Yeah.
that means we've reached the
You
end.
have 10 minutes.
I have 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm Ned Sinnott with Sandpiper out of Richmond, Virginia, and this is Patrick Profit, who you all well know from Hurt and Profit. Sandpiper is extremely excited about the opportunity here to build a hotel on Border Street, and we're excited about where it's located here in Lynchburg, and excited about the process. It's been refreshingly fast. The process going through right now, and Tom and the staff have been extremely easy and great to work with. So Patrick Scott is here, and he can speak on any technical questions that you might have, and I can address any operational questions, hotel-specific questions that you might have.
Great, thank you. We may call you both back up in a bit. Is there anyone from the public who's here to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone opposed? All right, public hearing is closed. Let's open it up to questions or comments.
I've got no objections. I'm curious what kind of hotel it's going to be. Does it have a name?
So right now, we are envisioning it being a Wood Spring Suites hotel is the brand. It's an extended stay concept that rents rooms. We do nightly stay, but it's the core business is for someone looking for a room for a week to 3 months.
That would probably accommodate students from Liberty who have to come for a week at a time.
It could very easily do that. Yes, ma'am.
So with proffers, they were originally put in place with a different owner.
Yeah, the previous rezoning
Yeah.
established that proffered concept plan. That was actually the Billy Joe's
Right.
restaurant, or ice cream parlor,
Right.
rather. And because so it was originally proffered for the Billy Joe's ice cream parlor. It was then rezoned again with a proffer for the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance concept plan. which ended up, they moved downtown instead. And so now we need to still get rid of that proffered concept plan because the hotel's concept plan is pretty different from the Chamber's
Right.
old plan.
So proffers don't go away with changes in ownership. That's what I'm.
Right, they
Yeah.
stay with the property until Planning Commission and City Council act again.
Yeah.
I'll just make a comment. It's a very visible piece of property. People have been concerned about it for a long time. I had questions as to whether it was a suitable building for the Chamber of Commerce or the regional business folks to be in anyway. And when they decided to move back downtown, to stay downtown, I thought that was a good thing. But you see that piece of property out there, and it sort of sticks out like, wow, this is a nice building that's not being fully utilized. So I was really excited to see the petition. It sounds like a good business plan to me. As far as a long stay hotel, I got Springwood Suites up online just to see exactly, because I don't think I had stayed in one before. But I said, this sounds like a great idea, and just happy to see a building that's currently not being utilized, repurposed for something that I think is going to be productive, because we certainly need more hotel rooms. Maybe if I wasn't in the hotel business, I wouldn't feel that way in Lynchburg. But from a consumer viewpoint, I think we need some more rooms. So I'd take my hat off to you. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is a simple one. It's just cleaning up some previous stuff. I mean, that area can get crowded, especially if there's a conference or something going on, but the parking's been addressed in the concept plan, so I'm not too worried about that. So,
You actually have more parking spots than you had to,
yeah.
which I thought was a nice touch on your part, because parking's always a concern.
I think it's a good use of the property there. I'm tired of seeing an empty building just sitting there
It's an eyesore.
year after year after year. Now, something reasonable is going to go in there that's going to serve the community well.
Any other comments or questions? Do we have a motion?
I'll move to accept the petition as drafted.
All right. Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, well, congratulations. We're recommending approval to City Council, so you get to do it again with them. So good luck with the project if it gets approved, and enjoy your time here.
Thanks very much.
Oh, yeah. She was nice. She was the one who did the transportation thing yesterday. They must be trying to get the Lynchburg market a little bit more. All right. Continuing on, our next item is a second public hearing. The petition of Royal Oak Farm LLC for a conditional use permit in an I-3 heavy industrial district to allow the construction and operation of a recycling facility at 4220 Murray Place.
Planning Commission, this is actually a very exciting project, and it's kind of unique in that it's a recycling facility, but it's processing industrial food liquid and basically taking the water out and then taking the leftover materials and turning them into compost in Evington. Something unique to this area, I believe. These types of facilities for the collection of non-hazardous waste or recyclable materials are permitted within I-3 heavy industrial districts. All the dewatering operations, all the operations will be within the enclosed building, which is right around 40,600 square feet. Again, any of the solids left over will be transported to Evington, Virginia, where Royal Oak Farms currently has a composting facility, and any effluent left over would be discharged under a separate permit into the city's sanitary sewer. The property is recommended for employment 2 uses, so heavy industrial type uses such as this, recycling facilities, are recommended for these areas. The planning staff has worked very closely with the petitioner and does recommend approval of the conditional use permit with the condition that it be developed in substantial compliance with the site plan.
Great, thank you. Who is here to speak on behalf of this petition?
Ken Nowakowski with Hurt and Profit Engineers and Mr. Croker here.
We're going to switch these sign-in sheets. Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to add to what's been presented?
No, this is an exciting facility. This would be the first in the area. No one else has done this before. There's some similar to it, but not exactly like it up in the valley. But this is definitely the first, and it'll be probably the first in the nation, I believe. So that would be an exciting thing for us to show to other localities. Part of this project will also include that turnaround that's put on the end of there, which would be advantageous to the other industries that are on this road. And I guess the other part of them is the sanitary sewer system that have to be extended from Fishing Creek up into our site to then allow us to discharge the water waste that's coming out of the facility. But this is going to be an exciting for everyone, for the Royal Oak Farms to be able to produce this material with the compost, as well as to then service the areas that then require their waste to be taken away.
The facility will also include a depackaging machine for depackaging industrial canned goods or packaged goods, not glass, because of the glass tends to break when you start depackaging, but canned goods and pouch liquids and things like that. There's a lot of need for that by several regional industries in the Central Virginia area. And so those liquids would then be dewatered along with the liquids that will be brought in by tanker trailer from other Virginia industries and dewatered, using mechanical dewatering technology that's widely used in a large number of places. And the solids will go back to our farm for composting. We have the largest composting facility in Virginia. It's been there since 1999, and about 20 miles southwest of the city here. And then the liquids will be discharged to the treatment plant under an industrial discharge permit. All operations will take place inside the building. So it will look just like the warehouse on the north side of the property from a visual standpoint.
Great. Thank you. Well, you gentlemen could probably stay up here in case we have questions. Is anyone from the public here to speak in favor or opposed? All right, public hearing is closed. Questions for the petitioners or for Tom?
I do have one or two questions / comments. It mentions a railroad siding, and on the thing there we show a road going down to a railroad siding. Will we be using trains in this process as well?
Not currently. That's a future evolution, shall we say, that may or may not be utilized. Most of these liquids are transported in tanker trucks.
Okay. Second thing, you mentioned the depackaging process where we take the water out of the foods and that goes to water treatment into the river. The food stuff goes composting in Evanston. what happens to the actual package that is depackaged?
Well,
Plastics and cans?
if it's an aluminum or ferrous metal can, it will be baled up and taken to an appropriate recycling facility for traditional recycling. If it's like for example, liquids that come in pouches, the pouches are not recyclable because they're complex metal plastic fabric, and those will have to go to the landfill in Rustburg. Or wherever the new landfill ends up being.
They'll be baled and then hauled off in a bale.
Yeah.
Okay.
It appears there's an elevated berm that goes up to the retaining wall. Is that in case of a spill, or from the end of the turnaround? Is that an elevated berm that goes around there?
Not quite sure if you're.
It's like there's a retaining wall, then it goes down. There's
In
a
the back,
dotted
yeah, the
line that
north
goes
part of
around
it.
to.
That mountain, basically, it's a hillside that exists. That berm runs along Murray Road, and we're trying to retain that berm as high as possible to provide as a visual barrier from the road, so you don't see most of the facility from the road, so it won't be an issue of visual pollution or whatever. And so we had to build a retaining wall behind it so that we can cut into that hillside to allow truck traffic around, because as you enter into that facility, that one long rectangle is a weigh station for them to weigh, and they drive around the back of it, which would be, I guess, the north side of it, and then come off to the front and offload their material. So,
And to answer your question, though, we do plan on having what are called pop-up ramps at every door entrance, that in the event of spillage, the operator can hit a button and a barrier comes up to keep any liquids from getting out of the building.
it'll be all self-contained.
I have a question. So can you give me an example of what kinds of liquids, what kinds of?
Sure. There's a very brand new state-of-the-art milk plant in Mount Jackson, and they make organic milk that we can buy at virtually every grocery store in Virginia. And they, as part of the process of making that milk, they have to treat their wastewater before they can discharge it under their discharge permit. And their treatment process involves getting some of the milk solids out of the wastewater before it goes to the treatment plant. And those milk solids would come to us. We would further process them to get more of the solids out, separating water from solids, take the solids to the farm. And we take in some liquids at the farm now, but it's just a very tedious process to manage them at the farm.
So would that come in a tanker truck?
Mhm.
Okay. So what about the cans and the pouches? What kinds of?
That would probably come in, most times we see that already packaged and ready to enter the distribution chain. And for whatever reason, the industry will decide not to let that product move forward. So it's usually cans are packed in boxes, boxes are packed on pallets, and pallets are shrink wrapped. And it's offloaded from a typical dry box trailer with a forklift.
So
And
might
you,
it be out of date?
Yeah.
Food, a lot of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a smell associated with this process?
no, because these are food products that are very freshly made. You know, the one we're at one in Stewart's Draft that makes chocolate cakes that many of us have probably enjoyed in our lives. And it's the first plant I've ever been in that smelled like chocolate cake. So, no, but just in case, our plan is to have the entire building operating under negative air. So you will feel the pressure as you try to open a door. And then all that building air will be routed to treatment biofilters to make sure there are no possible issues.
And the compost is, or it's what some of it's taken off to the farm and turned into compost. What happens with the compost?
We sell compost from everywhere from southern Pennsylvania to North Carolina. We make 3 different kinds of compost. We make 6 different kinds of engineered soils. Like it's been going on for a long time. It's a very large, very successful business for the Royal Oak Farm family.
It's more of a curiosity question than anything else. The way you presented the repackaging seemed to be separate from what you're doing with your waterway stuff. And the question I want to ask is, Are you going to be in a position to accept a lot? I mean, would that be an area that would grow separately from taking in recyclables and repackaging them?
Well,
Or
the
depackaging?
depackaging is probably going to be limited by the economics of transport. I don't really foresee companies from out of Virginia taking advantage of that facility.
I was really thinking about more like local stuff. I was thinking, is that going to, what I guess I'm thinking is, could it be an enhancement to our current recycling process that would make it more efficient perhaps and lower cost?
And there is a local company that makes a product that many older Americans drink for nutritional value that comes in small cans. And that company has specifically asked us about depackaging. If we take it in at the farm, the only way to depackage it is with a can opener. Serious, and I don't mean to be facetious. That
I was
really
going to
is
ask for
the.
a job, but I'm off now. I'm not withdrawing an application.
Well, we did take in. As it turns out, dog food has an expiration date, and I never knew that, but apparently it does. And this company out of North Carolina was shipping us pallets of dog food, which we had to manually open. And it's just a very tedious process to do it manually.
Right. And that's what I was thinking, that this would be the first industrial size operation to be able to really manage that on any kind of scale that mattered.
And it's important that we will not take in any consumer products. So anything that's already entered the distribution chain, institutional material, institutional or commercial or residential, we will not take, because that turns this into a solid waste transfer station. And that's not what we want. This is strictly industrial material.
Wait, what's the difference in industrial and consumer? I mean, dog food?
Once, let's say a can of Coca-Cola, once that leaves the bottler
Okay.
and enters into our traditional American consumer distribution chain and is then thrown away, it is solid waste.
Okay.
Before it enters that chain, it's an industrial waste.
Okay. So, if you had these cans of dog food, you're talking about cans of dog food, right?
Now, more likely cans of like the adult beverage that many older Americans. One brand is called Ensure, for example.
But they might be milk, or they might be meat, or they might be vegetable.
Won't be meat. Might
Dog
well,
food.
probably not.
Okay, because I was wondering how you recycle that out of the farm. What do you?
The solids just get mixed in with everything else we take in. We take in food waste from JMU, from Virginia Tech, from UVA. We're trying to get it from Liberty, trying to get Lynchburg College. We take in a wide variety of clean industrial residuals now that are solid waste. Yard waste, leaves from Lynchburg, leaves from Bedford.
But that won't be processed.
No, that's all done out at the farm.
But so what you're doing is, and you're composting it in the end? Okay.
At the
so
farm.
it just turns into dirt in the end.
In the end, but it's really good dirt.
That's correct. No meat.
No.
That would be the case now.
We take in meats we can take in meats at the farm, but not at this facility. This facility will be focused on liquids.
This doesn't impact what we're deciding on, but are there going to be a lot of new jobs created? from
Between
this?
truck drivers and staff, we're thinking in 6 to 8 positions by the end of year 3.
A lot of the process is automated.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure I had to back up onto someone's property to turn around today, so the turnaround will be nice. And it's good timing with the Oddfellows Road extension out to 460. That's certainly going to alleviate any issues with the expressway and traffic, I think. Any other comments or questions?
No, it's very exciting. When I read it, I had heard a little bit about this kind of thing, but then to actually read the application, I thought, boy, this is really cutting edge stuff and a great service.
Yeah, I think it's really neat. And the other thing to consider is that it's also not a major request that we're considering. It's a minor request in the big picture in my mind. We're not doing a rezoning. We're not increasing anything. We're just allowing a CUP. So I'm excited about it, and I hope we can get a tour when it is up and running. I'd love to see it. So certainly, I'm definitely in favor of it. Yeah, put us to work. All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion approve the CUP or recommend approval to council.
Great. Second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we are recommending approval to council. Good luck with the project.
Thank
Looking
you
forward to
very
seeing it
much.
happen.
Thank you very much.
That's our last public hearing item. New and old business. I had a couple of things. We are getting new iPads. Robbins, there was a couple questions. Will that be an actual exchange? So we'd have to bring in the old ones when we get the new ones?
Yeah, Kent hasn't told me when it's going to happen.
Probably looking-
No,
I mean, I would think, if anybody wants to turn theirs in today, doesn't use it and wants to give it to me, that's fine. A couple people are purchasing theirs, and they are going to be bringing me checks. I'm going to guess maybe January
Yeah,
or February.
realistically.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I think there's a window on this trade-in, so he's probably got to do it.
So we need to be
So-
ready. We need to
So
be ready to go.
I'll check with him and see if there's a deadline that I need you guys to bring him back.
Okay.
I have marks. You two are buying yours, so I'd be getting yours and yours. You're going to give me yours today and Kenzie's. So I just need to collect 3.
All right.
Oh, I didn't bring that charger, is that a problem?
No, he can break. Actually, they won't even be the same charger with the new ones. It'll be the smaller one. Those are actually hard to find now. Those 30-pin chargers are hard to find. Yeah, do you want to give me yours today?
I'll certainly give you one today.
It's yours like mine, it doesn't do anything, right?
I mean, well, I had to charge it so I come to meetings. I'll give you an idea of
Yeah.
how often it's used.
Yeah.
And
We're actually,
First time either.
what do you call it? We're experimenting with a new thing called SharePoint, which is through Microsoft. I think it'll be easier to use than Dropbox. Well, I mean, it just have some advantages, like you can get to it, easier. Once you create a Microsoft login, you can get to it anytime, from anywhere. Yeah, I figured that out, but I tried to share it with them. I tried to share it with you for this meeting, and it's in case you wanted to try it out. And it said that I didn't have the rights to share it with you, so I have to talk to IT about that. I think right now it's just internal to employees.
all right. Well, thanks for working on that.
No problem.
Yep.
Trying to improve on how things work.
Yeah.
Like Tom said, he doesn't want anybody to be able to change anything.
We could have read-only,
Accidentally delete all our documents.
but you can go ahead and put read-only stuff on
Yeah.
for us, right?
Yeah, I can mark it to where it's read-only, yeah.
Can I ask a dumb question? How many other things like that did you look at? Like, I know there's Drive, I know there's Dropbox,
We're
there's
kind of being told, yeah, because it's something that's already included. Our IT department is kind of saying that's what you're going to use.
I was just trying to,
Yeah, I'm sure
coattail
there's
your
other
research.
ones
I was
too.
trying to coattail your research so I could cut down some of the junk
Yeah.
that's on my
It
computer.
has some real nice features to it that we have to get used to it.
Yeah.
And this is an app we have to download, like for the Android systems.
You won't have to download. You'll just, like I said, once you create a Microsoft login, you'll just view the documents on your screen.
We need to save them on,
Yeah. you
because
can-
that's one thing with
Yeah,
this, I
you'll be able
couldn't
to-
save it.
You'll be
And-
able to download. You have the option to download. You just won't have to if you only want to look at it. But you could save it to your computer as well. You can print it. You can do whatever you want.
And the only other two things I have, I did give the annual report to City Council a couple of weeks ago, and they did express their appreciation for everyone's hard work, both from the planning side and from the commissioner side, so I wanted to pass that on. They do notice the work and time that goes into these, and they appreciate that. And then, remember, our next meeting is not till after the holidays, and since that's the new year, we are taking nominations for new officers. So if anyone wants to serve as chair or vice chair, you can let me know, or you can self-nominate yourself at our next meeting. So I would welcome fresh blood taking the lead if someone wants. And that meeting is January 10th. So, all right. So, meantime, enjoy the holidays and time off, and thanks for everyone's hard work. Do we have any other business items from you all?
Just an update on the downtown plan. We do have a very good draft back that we're working through at a staff level. We had originally anticipated trying to get it to a public meeting in March. We've kind of took a step back from that just to make sure we go through it very detailed and put out it's a very good plan now. We want to put out a very outstanding plan. So there's just a few things that we're working on. And then after that, we'll dig into Tyree-Dana.
Okay.
So what's the process, Tom? Once you've gotten your draft, you'll present it to us, and is that before or after the next public presentation?
We will present it to the public first, then we'll bring it to you in a work session, then in a public hearing, then it'll go to council in a work session, public hearing, hopefully for adoption.
So there'll be an opportunity when you present it to the public. Some of you all, I can't remember who was on the commission at what time, but all of us attended at least one of the public input meetings for when we redid the zoning. It seems like it was yesterday, but it's probably 2 years ago now, and I found that to be very helpful.
Yeah.
And I know the planning department staff was listened really carefully, and I thought was pretty responsive to a lot of the issues that came up. But I don't go to all these public hearings, but I don't know about you all, but I've heard a lot of preemptive comments already about downtown, so I'm definitely got and a lot of it, just to be frank about it, is a two-way, it's a two-way traffic on Main Street. I mean, I'm dreading going to Christmas parties because inevitably somebody will say, "Let me tell you what my thoughts are about two-way traffic on Main Street." So I think it'll help us all to attend, those public hearings, because I thought it was a good way, especially from your all's perspective. I thought you did a nice job with the zoning to explain the process on a lot of the rationales in a non-confrontational manner. I mean, it was a pretty matter of fact. This is where we're, what the thinking is.
Right, and that definitely needs to be a part of it. We would like to have the plan available to the public. My desire is to have it available to the public for at least a month before we have the public meeting, just to give people the ability to read it and digest it, and then hopefully they'll come to the presentation more informed. And we're hoping to do some other things that we have not done before, just like we did the pop-up sessions where we went out and got input. We'd like to do that, a very similar thing where we present the plan to people, whether it be going to the universities or civic groups or just on the street to get information out about it.
The second thing is, and I don't know how the rest of the other commissioners feel. Dave and I haven't discussed it this specific time, but I think it was about this time, and again, my memory is shot. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. We sort of did a half a day sort of update session, and it was a little bit of a dog and pony show, but I found it to be, I found it to be helpful just to get a handle on everything. Has there been any thought about that again, Tom, or not?
I have not thought about it. That's definitely something we could do if you thought was helpful for you.
I think, Tom, you had just maybe come on the commission. Mark was on the commission. Nancy was. Bob, maybe you weren't. Kenzie, you weren't. It was something Dave and I had really sort of suggested to staff, just to get everybody sort of level set on things. We all sort of divvied up. If you remember, we sort of divvied up parts of the city. I don't know. I could live with it either way. I just bring it up just so we are aware of it. So
I'm really excited to hear about things going on in and about the city and future plans. I was a little bit dismayed about the Graves Mill Road update there, and I found about on TV, like, man, I want to go see those plans. But as much as we've talked about Rosedale and all that other stuff and the impact on Gravesville Road, and now we've got this coming in. And,
Yeah,
will that come to
I
us?
need to have a conversation with Region 2000 about how to move forward with that. That's really been driven by that agency.
I guess I've been looking for it because if I remember correctly, Maggie had said something about that when we were talking about, I think the conference center or I don't remember, maybe I can't remember what it was, something at Rose Hill, that's all I remember. And she had said that we were, that was close. That was close to being done, so I felt like, good, it's on schedule, it's running. But I got but this is the first I've heard about Region 2000. For some reason, I thought that was something that we would drop.
It's being championed out of Region 2000.
Well, I was surprised when I went talking to several of the people that they didn't really know what was going on, like with property. So they didn't know what was they like, well, Rosemill or Rosedale, that's going to be a big thing. I'm like, are you sure? Do you know? And very little. I said, what are they basing us on? He said, well, we're really basing the whole study on 1.25% increase in traffic every year through 2040. I'm like, well, I would think there's other considerations. If, we're in planning, there would be other considerations. And then he said, well, we're not doing this with the city, really. They're putting a little money, but this is more of a Region 2000 transportation thing. So it'd been nice to have a little bit more knowledge of what the city would like to do.
Yes, it would.
Since the majority of it is in the city.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
But it's good.
Yes, it is.
Any other items? All right, motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
I can't